Okay. Remember that solving by factoring, we've got to factor it first. This is 1 times negative 4. So you get negative 4. Write the factors. Go to your calculator, add a graph. So you get 1 and 4, and you've got 2 and 2. Those are the only factors. Remember, this one tells me that the larger factors are going to be positive. So 4 and 2 are positive here. Now, that's negative 4, so we have to change these to negative. Now, find the two factors that add up to 3. That's negative 1 and 4. Should have circled those. So you get x minus 1 times x plus 4 is equal to 0. Now, set both factors equal to 0. So you have x minus 1 equals 0 and x plus 4 is equal to 0. So, solve them. Add 1 to both sides. So we get x equals 1. That's one solution. Subtract 4 from both sides. You get x equals negative 4. Those are your solutions to that. That's all you're doing. Let's look at number 2. This is 1 times negative 16. So we get negative 16. Start with 1 and 16. We've got 2 and 8 and 4 and 4. Those are the factors. Now, the larger ones are going to be positive. The larger ones will be positive. So these are positive, but that's negative 16. So we have to change these to negative. Now, find the two factors that equals 6. That's negative 2 and 8. So we start off with n minus 2 times n plus 8 is equal to 0. Now, set both factors equal to 0. So we have n minus 2 equals 0 and n plus 8 is equal to 0. Add 2 to both sides and you get n equals 2. There's one solution, or root, or 0. Subtract 8 from both sides here, and you get n equals negative 8. There's your other solution. That's it. Okay. Let's look at number 3, where a is not equal to 1. The same thing. Multiply 5 times negative 4. By the way, in order to do this, it has to be in standard form of a quadratic. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. So we start with 1 and 20, 2 and 10, and 4 and 5. Those are all the factors of 20. Alright, now, the larger factors are going to be negative. Alright, negative times the positives and negative, our signs are good. Now we got to find the two factors that add up to negative 8. So we have 2 and negative 10. But remember, we start with 5. So we're going to start with 5m plus 2 times 5m minus 10 is equal to 0. Same thing. We're going to set both factors equal to 0. So we got 5m plus 2 equals 0, and 5m minus 10 is equal to 0. Now, solve. Subtract 2 from both sides, and you get 5m is equal to negative 2. Divide both sides by 5, and we get m equals negative 2/5. That's one solution there. Now, don't worry about reducing when you're solving. Just go ahead and solve it. Add 10 to both sides. So, you get 5m is equal to 10. Divide both sides by 5, and you get m equals 2. Those are your solutions. M equals negative 2/5, m equals 2. Alright. Uh-oh. Number 4. Didn't see that one coming. This is 2 times 40, which is 80. Now, let's write the factors of 80. Start with 1 and 80. Don't forget, you can go to your calculator, add a graph. This is 2 times 40. 3 doesn't go. 4 times 20. 5 times 16. 6 doesn't go. 7 and 8 and 10. Those are all the factors of 80. Now, this first sign tells me what the larger signs are going to be. They're going to be negative. But that's positive 80, so we have to change the smaller ones to negative. Because a negative times a negative is a positive. Now, we have to find the two factors that add up to negative 21, which is negative 5 and negative 16. Alright, remember we have to start with a 2. So, we have 2x minus 5 times 2x minus 16 is equal to 0. Alright, set both factors equal to 0. 2x minus 5 is equal to 0. 2x minus 16 is equal to 0. So we're going to add 5 to both sides. So we have 2x is equal to 5. Divide both sides by 2, and you get x equals 5 over 2. Now, solve the next one. Add 16 to both sides. So we get 2x is equal to 16. Divide both sides by 2, x equals 8. Those are your solutions. Solving by factor. As long as it's in standard form, then it will work. Tomorrow, I'm probably going to give you ones that are not in standard form. That are not going to be in standard form. And you're going to have to get them there. Alright. Let's turn it over on the back. I did not put everything we had to find on there. Alright. But we always start the first thing every time you're going to find the vertex. That's the first thing every time. The vertex is HK. Here's H, here's K. You can label it every time because HK is very important. Now, don't forget our formula is A times X minus H plus K. So, the vertex here would be at 2, negative 1. 2, negative 1. My fault. 2, negative 1. That's your vertex. Now, to find the Y-intercept. To find the Y-intercept, substitute 0 in for x. So, you would have f of, well, let's do it this way. The Y-intercept is equal to 0 minus 2 squared minus 1. Put that into your calculator just like that. Right now. Parentheses 0 minus 2 close parentheses squared minus 1. Put it into your calculator just like that. And when you put it in, you should get 3. You get 3 for this. But the Y-intercept is located at 0, 3. Now, the next thing you need to know how it faces. This one faces up because it's understood to be 1 here and it's positive. So if A is positive, it faces up. Now, if it faces up, that means you have a minimum value. You have a minimum value and it's at K. Whatever K is. So minimum value of -1. Now, the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry is x equals h. H is 2. So it's x equals 2. Now, we will find the x-intercepts next, but we will get those from the graph. Alright, first thing you look at is whether you can plot these. The vertex, of course, is at 2, -1. So we go to 2, -1. We go to 2, -1. Now, we can plot the Y-intercept at 0, 3. Now, you go to your calculator to get the rest of the points. So, you go to the new document. We've been doing add a graph a lot. Add a graph, and we just type in the equation. We go parentheses, x minus 2, close parentheses, squared, minus 1. Hit enter. There's our parabola. So we can look at it until it has 2 solutions. It has 2 solutions because it crosses the x-axis twice. Now, we go to our table to get our points. Control T. Alright. 1, 0. So we go there. Let's put 1, 0. Okay. Now, 2, -1. Oops, not showing up. 2, -1 is our vertex. 3, 0. Plot that point. And we have 4, 3. And we have 5, 8. Those are all the points we can plot that way. On the positive side. Now, here's the big thing. You have to scroll up. We have 0, 3. We have that one. But we don't have -1, 8. -1, 8. When we go to -2, -2, 15, we can't plot it. As high as we can go is 8. Now, Connect all those points. Put your arrows. Put your arrows. Now, for the X-Intercept, it's where the parabola crosses the X-axis. It crosses it at 1, 0 and 3, 0. It crosses it at those points right there. Now, draw our axis of symmetry. It's a dashed vertical line. Put your arrows there. It was at x equals 2. That was your X-intercept. Now, the domain. Here's the thing. As long as the parabola faces up or down, the domain will be all real numbers. It has to have the arrows and be facing up or down. The domain will always be all real numbers because that's a set of x's. All real numbers. Will be all real numbers. Now, the range, set of all y's. You have a minimum value at -1 right here. If you have a minimum, that means that's the lowest value that y will be. And plus is going up the y-axis. So all the numbers will be greater than or equal to -1. That's the range. If you have a maximum value, that means it'll be less than, because that's the max value of y. Now, the last thing to do is we're going to change this to standard form. F of x, is equal to x minus 2 squared minus 1. We're going to ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. That's standard form. Now, square this. I have a video. It's posted in Classroom of changing from Vertex form to standard form. I've already posted it in the Classroom. So, square the x. So that would be x squared. Now, multiply this times this. -2 times x is -2x. Then double it. -2 times 2 is -4. So that means I have -4x, and I write it as -4x. Now, square the last term. That's just -2 times -2 is +4. Now, -1. Can't forget that. So, 4 minus 1 is 3. So for us to get in standard form, it's f of x is equal to x squared minus 4x plus 3. That's one graph right there. Okay. Let's look at number 6. Let's look at number 6. You can label HK. There's H and K. Because the first thing we find is the vertex. So the vertex is, okay, that's a plus, so that means that is -1. It's located at -1, 1. Now, we find the y-intercept. We substitute 0 into this equation. So the y-intercept is equal to -0 plus 1 squared plus 1. Alright. Substitute that into your calculator. Don't forget the negative sign out in front of the parentheses. How many of y'all got 0? Just one person, 2, 3, 4. Put it in just like that into your calculator. So you get 0. Here's the deal. The Y-intercept is at 0, 0. The origin. It's at the origin, and that will happen. That will happen. Now, this one faces down because A is negative. That's -1. So, if it faces down, we have a max value. We have a max at 1 because the max value, max or min, is equal to K. So the max is equal to 1. Now, our axis of symmetry is x equals h. H in this case is -1. We have it right there. So x equals -1. Now, next thing we'll find will be our x-intercepts. Alright, let's graph this. The vertex is at -1, 1. The y-intercept is at 0, 0. Now, go to your calculator and let's add a new graph to get the rest of our points. Okay. So we get the focus up. Alright, home, new document, no, and we're going to add a graph. Now, we type in negative, open parentheses, x plus 1, x plus 1, close parentheses, hit the squared button, plus 1. Enter. Okay, now we go to our table, Control T. Focus up. We have 1, -3. No, yeah, we have 1, -3. So we plot that. Okay. Then we have 2, -8. Which is down here. Now, we can't plot the rest of them. So let's scroll up. We have 0, 0. That was our y-intercept. We have -1, 1. That's our vertex. But we don't have -2, 0. Plot that point. -3, -3. Then we have -4, -8. Alright. Let's connect all those points. Put your arrows. Let's go ahead and draw our axis of symmetry now. It's a dashed vertical line. Put your arrows there. Now, the x-intercepts are roots, solutions, or zeros. It's where it crosses the x-axis. So, one spot is -2, 0. Now, the origin can be the y-intercept and the x-intercept. So it's at 0, 0. That's another one. That's another one. Okay. Now, remember the domain. It's facing down. It has arrows. That parabola is just going to get wider. So it's still all real numbers. It's still all real numbers. Now, the range. We have a max value of 1. That means that's the highest y value we can have. So, y, all the numbers on the y-axis, you can look at it, it's going down, will be less than or equal to 1. Will be less than or equal to 1. Now, let's change it to standard form. F of x is equal to basically negative 1 times x plus 1 squared plus 1. Alright, this time we're going to have to distribute. So we have f of x is equal to negative, do everything in the parentheses first, square the x squared. Multiply these two. 1 times x is just 1x. Double it. 2 times 1 is 2. So it's plus 2x. Square the 1. 1 squared is just 1. Close the parentheses, plus 1. We do that last because we have to distribute. Right. So we have f of x. Now, this is like distributing negative 1. Multiply everything in here by negative 1, which would give you negative x squared minus 2x minus 1 plus 1. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. So you have f of x is equal to negative x squared minus 2x. We are now in standard form. And that's it. Okay.